All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Time now is 1:05 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to the 14th Police District Council meeting for December 6, 2025. Welcome back from the Thanksgiving holiday. Okay, before we get things started, time now is 1:05. I want to go ahead and get attendance out of the way. So I don't see Council Orlikoff. Do we know if Council Orlikoff is going to make it or not?
Who's that?
Okay. Councilor Vargas.
Present.
And I am Councilor Laurent. We do have 2 of 3, to which we do have quorum, so we can continue to conduct business on behalf of the 14th Police District Council. Let's see. First and foremost, as we always do, we're going to get into public comment. We're going to keep it as brief as possible, 2 minutes per speaker. Please make certain that we maintain decorum, because we're going to spend a total of 20 minutes at maximum on this. So that being said, I have 2 requests for public comment. I've got Sally Heyman.
Yep. Okay, yeah. This past week, I read an article from ProPublica, which really concerned me. They were talking about how 2 officers were promoted after they'd engaged in sexual misconduct. The officers were disciplined according to the article by COPA. COPA recommended that they both be fired, but instead they were promoted. And it turns the article says that things like that are not considered for promotions, so that any kind of misconduct is just kind of thrown out the window, and instead it's based on a test score. So this it kind of rang bells with me, because it reminded me. The 2 guys were Sergeant Christopher Lockhart, who was responsible for domestic violence and sexual assault in 2024, and Sergeant Ernesto Guzman Sanchez in 2020 distributed nude photos of a woman he was familiar with. And both of those were taken to COPA, and COPA did their thing, but it didn't seem to have any effect on them being promoted to sergeant, which I find really amazing. But it does kind of explain the mindset of the police department, which I find really awful, that they don't even look at this stuff. You know, it takes me back to, we've got, I've been going on and on about our oath keeper, Sergeant Nowacki in the 14th District, who was cleared by BIA. A report, an accusation was filed with COPA. COPA sent it back to BIA. But everybody pretty clearly says, yes, he was an oath keeper, but hey, it doesn't matter. So he's still on the force, although they have been told he's doing desk duty, but as a sergeant. Also, it reminded me of John Foster, who is the head of Area 5. He's the commander there, and he has $3.4 million in police misconduct suits that are tied back directly to him, as well as 69 complaints.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Heyman.
Involving use of force.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Heyman. All right, moving on, we also have Steve Jensen, who's signed up to provide public comments.
Yes, thank you. I think it's a shame and a real waste of taxpayer dollars that Councilor Orlikoff couldn't be bothered to show up to this meeting. I'll remind the audience and the councilors that he was asked and prodded not only by COPA but by his peers, including Councilor Vargas, to step down from his post for his toxic, cruel behavior, his pattern of anger and assault. And I, for one, speak freely for at least the 30 sector of the 14th District. We as the citizens don't want someone like him and his behavior representing the rest of us. And I'll remind the collective that he should step down and step down immediately. And he presents a clear and present danger to not only himself and others. He needs to get professional help soon. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, do we have any other public comments that did not register beforehand? Ms. Fortman, I see your hand back there.
I just realized this morning
that maybe some people are not aware that there were 2 attempted sexual assaults in the heart of Logan Square, the 2600 block of Sawyer Friday morning, and the 3100 block of Schubert. And I just wanted to make people aware of that. I sent out emails to about 30 neighbors last night, none of whom were aware. I'm not on social media. So I just want people to know that there was not a lot of information that I could find. I saw it on the ABC7 News last night at the late night news. And I just wanted people to know this. I think one happened like at 2 in the morning and the other one at 3 in the morning. And just let everyone know so that we can keep our head on the swivel.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Fortman. All right, any other comments that anyone would like to share? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on through our agenda here. Let's see, we're going to approve the minute. We're going to go over and approve the minutes for last month's meeting. In the meantime, as we've learned last month, that it's good use of time to have our update from our police contingent to come up here. I'd like to introduce everyone to Captain Brian Courtney. He was our interim commander while we were waiting for Commander Rivera to be appointed, and he's brought 2 colleagues with him. I give the floor to you, Captain.
Okay, thank you. First, thank you for your time. Thank you for having me today. Happy holiday season to all of you. Hope it's a safe, happy, and healthy one for everyone involved. Just some updates on what's going on in the 14th District right now, especially around this holiday season. We've increased our overtime initiative to keep an eye on all of our business, shopping, and holiday corridors, people shopping this time of year. I'd like to report that our crime is very, very low in the 14th District as compared to last year. So the initiatives that we're taking is working in the 14th District. Now, I know that being said, if someone has ever been the victim of a crime, even though I'm sitting here talking about numbers being very, very low, that comes as no comfort to you when you are still the victim of a crime, okay? So we understand that, and our goal is always 0 crime, of course, okay? But we're working very hard. This is Staff Lieutenant James Cianello over here. Him and his team as well is working very hard along with the watch personnel, doing a lot of missions, a lot of robbery missions, a lot of theft missions, a lot of auto theft missions within the district, and we've increased that. Like I said, we've doubled it from November, starting just after Thanksgiving, all the way through the end of the year. We're going to do it. So the numbers look good for the 14th District. Anybody have any questions or concerns they want to bring up to me? Yes, sir.
I have a question for the TAC lieutenant. Ballpark figure, how many cars do you think you have on midnights throughout the district?
Well, on midnights, we don't specifically have a tactical shift that covers the full midnight hours. We work till approximately 2 in the morning, so that's our 3rd watch, night watch,
Okay.
tactical team. But after that, we leave it to the actual 1st watch.
Thank you.
And the first watch has 4 beats per sector, so there will be 12 cars out at night.
Okay.
Full staff.
Thank you.
How many tactical teams are there in the 14th?
There's 3.
3?
And that's 1 for each watch, I imagine.
No, so we have 3 tactical teams, and those 3 teams rotate. So they rotate by our police period. So our police period is 28 days. So every 28 days, one team will be assigned to the day watch, another team will be assigned to the night watch, and that 3rd team will be assigned to the relief team. So that relief team will work 2 days and 2 nights. So we have full coverage throughout that 28-day period, running from approximately 10 a.m. to 02 or 03 a.m. So basically, there's tactical coverage throughout those hours, every single day throughout the entire cycle.
Thank you.
How can we identify the tactical units?
Most common, the tactical units drive the unmarked vehicles.
And what about the uniform?
Each and every tactical officer is in full police uniform.
Any other questions for our police colleagues? All right. Captain, thank you very much, and thank you very much for.
Would you like to introduce
Of course.
yourself?
Myself?
Mhm.
Yeah.
My name is Officer Romero Martinez. I'm the District Intelligence Officer for the 14th District.
Share a little bit about what
The
you do.
District Intelligence Officer, I try to gather information pertaining any incidents happening in the 14th District, like robberies, burglaries, gang violence, and I work directly with the captain, commander, the attack lieutenant, and also the detectives, trying to get
Thank you once again.
Like a state.
If you'd like to, yeah, but I appreciate your input there. All right, while they were going over that, I did review the minutes. Do you have any amendments that you'd like to propose?
No.
Okay, I have one in the council member updates section, which is right there. If we're gonna say Councilor Vargas and then Orlikoff and then Chair, I think that that kind of is a little jarring. I think that we should basically keep them all identified identically, just for consistency. So preferably Councilor Vargas, Councilor Orlikoff, and Councilor Laurent. Any discussion or objections to that?
I agree with that, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So since we don't have a third member here, I think that we can, by unanimous consent, approve these minutes as amended.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you. All right, moving forward, district council member updates. I know that some were sent to our community outreach coordinator from Councilor Orlikoff, but before we get into that, Councilor Vargas, do you have any updates that you'd like to share?
A few updates. One being, if you all would like to sign my petition, there's a few district councilors and I collecting signatures. So the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability will host a hearing around CPE and federal agent interactions since January of 2025. We need about 2,000 signatures, and once we hit that, they have about 21 days to organize this hearing. So please sign my petition. Second update would be our applications for the commission are going to open in January after the holidays, around January 6th, I believe. And we are looking for 2 youth and 2 Northsiders, one being an adult. So if you know anyone passionate about public safety, community engagement, or police reform, have them look into the commission applications. Those are all my updates. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for reference, I know that the CCPSA website is going to have a portal for people to apply on there directly and more information on there. Am I accurate in saying such?
Yes, I also have some flyers for the nominating committee that I forgot to put out, but I will correct for that post haste.
Yeah, we can also email it out. I think it's very important, yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Councilor Orlikoff has.
So there are 2 flyers also on the back page. I could only print out one because I was on my home printer, so take a picture if you're interested, please. Those are, one is for a survey for folks who might have experienced civil asset forfeiture to share their experiences. The other is not here. But Councilor Orlikoff also wants to thank the 14th District Police Station for removing the temporary chain link fencing up that was put up prior to the DNC. Also acknowledging gratitude for putting up an ICER Know Your Rights sign. There is a December 10th teach-in with speakers from I believe the Appleseed
Foundation.
Yes, the Appleseed Foundation. That is the flyer that is back there actually, about Burke's felony bypass review, including the 14th district. So if folks are interested in that event, they can check that out. Thank you to MAC and COPA for being here and presenting today. And also just to raise awareness that there was a major law enforcement raid on Thursday night by Elston in California. CPD said their involvement was limited to traffic management. They left the scene early, but there were militarized NEPAs and unmarked state auto theft task force police, not ICE or CPD, municipal and state law enforcement, but a large show of force. And the last announcement is just saying that he's not here Councilor Orlikoff is not in attendance today because federal ethno-fascists are attacking our communities. They raided homes at Ridge Ray and Thomas a couple days ago and took people from.
Objection.
Okay.
Are these facts or are these opinions?
These are the updates I was provided to read today.
It's a shame that the counselor couldn't be here, he's paid with taxpayer dollars.
All right, Mr.
He
Chair.
couldn't be here to deliver his address, and you have to deliver it for him. That's a shame.
Mr. Jensen, I can understand your concern. Let's please just move on forward with it.
And there are concerns also in Cicero and Berwyn. If folks are interested in resources or more opportunities to connect and support communities that are most impacted, they can reach out to Councilor Orlikoff directly.
Thank you for that. By the way, those that are unfamiliar, Nat Duran is our Community Outreach Coordinator, our permanent one now, and we're very thankful for all the support that they provide. All right, let's see, updates for me. I attended the Community Conversation Meeting 2 regarding the district strategic plan. It's a great group of people, a lot of concerned people, and unfortunately we rarely see a lot of them in these meetings, but share a lot of great ideas as far as public safety, what we'd like to see police do, and they do these every year. As a matter of fact, I think Officer Martinez was at one or two, or both of those. But no, it's high value information. That way you can kind of take the temperature of what's on people's minds and what we'd like to, there's something that you want implemented in the district strategic plan for the police, this is a perfect venue to share that information, and so we can see some results a little bit more immediately than not. So thank you for that. I also met with, during the community conversation meeting, I met with someone who works for the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, who's very interested in coming in here and giving a presentation on the Cook County State's Attorney's Office to answer questions or give a kind of briefing on what's been going on with our new Cook County State's Attorney, and to either confirm or dispel any ill will that's been shared about them. That being said, that concludes my updates. I'm looking forward to a new year. We've got a pretty exciting calendar update coming up that we'll be voting on later. All right.
Question?
Yes.
Thank you for attending the strategic planning session. Is there an email that we can share out so people can talk about their experiences with CPD and what they want to see around strategy for those who couldn't make the meeting?
Definitely contact the CAPS office on that. They should be able to provide an email for the department, for the 14th district specifically, if anybody wants to share any information with us.
For strategic planning?
Yes.
All right. Thank
I'll give you
you.
that exact email. Give me 1 second.
It's 014 caps at Chicago.
I know the CAPS email, but I need the strategic planning email.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, the best email is like what the captain said, the CAPS email. Correct.
Okay, you can state it for the record.
Mr. Jensen was correct.
014 caps at chicagopolice.org.
There you go.
014caps@chicagopolice.org. Thank you. All right, do we have any discussions about police accountability, or do we want to get right into the COPA, the meat and potatoes of our meeting?
We can get into COPA.
Okay. All right, I've got you set up over there. The mic does not work, but
Do I just sit? You need me to stand somewhere?
wherever you feel most compelling.
Perfect. Good to go? Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Mac Thurman. I'm with the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. Thank you for inviting me to this meeting. This has been in the works for a few months to discuss how COPA handles CPD officers engaging with their involvement with federal law enforcement immigration activities. So before I get into that, I think the best way to level set is just kind of go over what COPA does and some of our disciplinary processes, and then we can get into some of the topics related to the immigration enforcement, and then I think I'll just kind of brush through this real quick, and since we have a smaller group of people, I'll leave it open to questions at the end and we can go from there. So once again, my name is Mac Thurman. I'm Manager of Legislative Affairs at the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. I work with any legislation that comes through at the city, state, or federal level regarding policing, particularly in police oversight. That also involves managing relationships with elected officials such as district council members, alder people, or state representatives, or whomever else. Just some of the agenda we're going to go over today. I'll go over the history of COPA and oversight in Chicago. I'll go over jurisdiction, our investigative processes, some stats that might be interesting. I just want to give a little information into our mediation program because I think that may be of interest. And then I'll get into the Welcoming City Ordinance. So a little bit about COPA. In 1974, the city put together there was a blue ribbon panel that happened prior to that, and it suggested that the Office of Professional Standards be created. That was an organization within the Chicago Police Department, and they did misconduct investigations over members of CPD. In 2007, OPS was changed over to IPRA, and that removed it from within the Chicago Police Department. So that's when we we got some of our independence from the department. And then in 2017, everyone in this room is probably familiar with the Laquan McDonald shooting. That brought in a big sweeping mandate for change, and that created the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. And that was per recommendations of the Police Accountability Task Force. And that's where we stand now. So that's a little bit about the history of how we got here. This is COPA's vision statement. Our vision is to be the leader in police accountability by conducting thorough investigations to advance the culture of policing, and build trust in civilian oversight. This is how complaints come in. This is how we make jurisdictional determinations. So there's a wide list of alleged misconduct that members of CPD can be accused of. When complaints come into COPA, we look through the file that comes in and we determine what those allegations are. On the left here are allegations that fall under COPA's jurisdiction. So that's all incidents of firearm discharge. We'll go and investigate those. Taser discharges if they result in death or serious bodily injury. And then complaints alleging excessive force, improper search or seizure, domestic violence, sexual misconduct, bias-based verbal abuse, and a few other here. So how that works is if a complaint comes in and there's any allegation that falls under one of these categories, COPA retains that allegation. COPA retains that entire case for investigation. So that's when COPA does an investigation. If none of those allegations are in the case file, then it gets sent over to BIA to conduct the investigation. Here's just how that worked in our most recent quarter. As you can see, we received 1,662 complaints at COPA, and we retained 414 for investigation. So generally, most cases go over to BIA, who conducts the investigation. Those are most of your low-level complaints, so operational violation, things where BIA is better suited to conduct those types of investigations. And then over here on the left is just a little breakdown of who's reporting these misconduct incidents to us. So in most times, it's the actual person that the misconduct, they were the subject of the misconduct complaint. That's 77% of the time. 12% of the time, it's a third party, so someone who saw someone else allegedly be subject to it, and then 11% of the time, those are through anonymous complaints. Here's a little information about just some of our leading allegations that we've retained at COPA. The vast majority of these are operational and personnel violations. Most of those are probably failure to activate body-worn camera in incidents that do come in through our jurisdiction. So those two leading categories are civil rights violations, so generally improper search or seizure, and then excessive force allegations. Just because I know the captain stated some statistics about 14, I do just want to state year over year, 14 is generally one of the lowest in misconduct allegations that come into COPA. So I think that speaks volumes to some of the work that you all are doing. So I just wanted to give a little shout out. But like the captain said, there's always room to improve. So that's why we exist at COPA, and we're always looking to kind of build our relationships with the department to give them better tools to increase those figures. So what can a complainant be? A complainant could be a member of the public. So like I stated earlier, that's someone who was subject to a misconduct complaint, or a CPD member. There's now many mechanisms in place at the department that require various lieutenants at each district to review random body-worn camera footages throughout the day. There's also specialized units within the department that review certain use of force incidents. So sometimes some complaints will come in through CPD themselves. And that number is growing year over year, so I think that's a good sign of officers generally feeling like there's an environment where they can report some of these incidents to us. How you can file a complaint, here's a few ways to do it. The best way is just to go on our website. We have an intake portal on our website. That's the easiest way to do it, but you're always free to call us, mail us, or come into our office. We're located in Westtown. We're not too far from here at Chicago and Ashland. COPA also investigates officer-involved shootings. Those are a little different because they're not complaint-driven. Generally, all allegations of misconduct require someone to submit a complaint. I think it's very important because if we don't receive notice of an alleged misconduct incident, we can investigate it. So if you do think that you see something, please let us know, or else we have no way of knowing. Besides, if it's an officer-involved shooting. So whenever an officer discharges their firearm, we receive automatic notification. The city has they have an information center that will send us notifications when those happen in live times. Our major incident response team will go out to the scene. We'll work alongside CPD's, their response team, and we'll gather evidence and we'll work the scene, and then we'll start conducting our use of force investigation into it. So that's a little different from just how the rest of our other complaints come through. A little bit about how we investigate misconduct complaints. It's pretty similar to how you would see any other similar type of investigation that you see on TV or in a movie. It involves gathering documentary and physical evidence. The department is now, well, they've always been, but they're now required to fill out a lot of forms when they engage with members of the public, especially when they may use force or anything, make an arrest, whatever it may be. So there's a lot of documentation that we can utilize when we're conducting an investigation. Obviously now the major game changer is body-worn cameras. So we can view every incident if the officer's recording it, which they're required to almost in all circumstances when they're engaged with members of the public. We'll also interview a civilian and officers that were involved. Civilians can choose to work with us if they desire. CPD members are compelled to do an interview with us. So those are helpful tools as well. So after we complete our investigatory steps, COPA will work up what we call a final summary report. That is a summary of our investigation. It goes through all our methodology, it goes through the allegations, and it determines if any of those allegations were sustained. If we do sustain an allegation, we'll make a disciplinary recommendation. That can range from violation noted to separation, which would be being removed from the police department. COPA does not actually have the authority to implement discipline. We just make a disciplinary recommendation to the superintendent of police, who has an opportunity to agree with our recommendation, not agree with our recommendation, or offer an alternative recommendation. So if there is agreement, the case is done, and it goes through the officer's grievance process that they're all afforded under labor law. If we don't agree with each other, we'll go through a process where we'll try and come to some kind of agreement. There are processes in place where if we are unable to come to an agreement, the police board will work those out. But most times we're able to come to an agreement with the police department. Upon the completion of all of that, and this is where it gets kind of confusing, so I won't get into the specifics of it, we'll post our final summary report on our website. So if you're ever interested about cases, particularly ones that may have happened to this district, you can go on our website, you can click 14th district, you can see final summary reports of incidents we've investigated within 14 or wherever it may be. Here's outcomes we can come to on each allegation. Sustained means it happened and it violated CPD's policy. Not sustained means we don't have enough evidence to prove that there was a violation, or if there wasn't a violation, so we're not able to ultimately sustain that. Unfounded means the incident did not occur as alleged, so whatever was alleged just simply didn't happen. Exonerated means what the individual claimed it happened, but it was actually, it followed and was within CPD's rules and regulations. Just a little information on our timeliness. We generally are required to complete most investigations within 18 months. We conclude a little less than 50% of them within 6 months. Here's some other figures about some other time periods past that. We're obviously trying to make huge steps to improve this timeliness. We know members of the community want resolution faster. We hear from officers all the time, they would like resolution on these cases faster. So that's something we're working towards. We're working with the superintendent's office right now in research and development on ways that we can implement some things at our office that will improve some of those steps. So looking forward to some of the work regarding that. A little info about concluded investigations from our most recent reporting period, which was Q3 of this year. As you can see, we closed 151 investigations. 67 of these had findings and 97 of them didn't have findings. Then within that 67 category of cases we concluded with findings, here's a breakdown of how those allegations were found. So you can see, without me doing that good of math, 50%-ish of those allegations were sustained, and then here's the breakdown of the rest. Next year, we're going to launch the next pilot of our mediation program. This is something we're really excited about here at COPA. It's something that's mandated through the consent decree. It's gone through a few iterations so far, so we're looking forward to this next pilot to launch. This is an alternative disciplinary process where, for very low-level complaints of misconduct, the complainant and the officer involved can opt in to essentially sit down in a room like this at a library and have a discussion about the misconduct incident. Those are really powerful conversations because we know a lot of these incidents can sometimes be just from a misunderstanding of cultures, of community, whatever it may be. So sometimes it's more powerful to just have a sit down between two people who may have had a misunderstanding instead of going through a traditional disciplinary route. So this is something we're excited about. We haven't had necessarily the participation that I think we all would desire historically, but we're hoping in the future that we can make that something that more people are interested in. Here in Chicago, we require both sides to opt into it. That's probably the best route of doing it because it's not really a successful mediation program if one side's forced to do it. In certain cities, they force the officers to participate in it. Is that really a meaningful conversation? Up for determination, but hopefully we can have some good conversations moving forward through that program. I know that's something that some of the district council members have been pretty involved with. Ms. Rochford's here. She's been kind of one of the people we've been involved with that, so I know that's something that you'll be hearing from your district council members moving forward once that gets up and running. And now I was invited here to discuss the Welcoming City Ordinance. So just to kind of remind everyone in the room what that means, the city has a ordinance on the books that highly restricts all Chicago employees from working with federal immigration officers when they're doing certain immigration-related activities. I know that's generally spoken in terms of what CPD can and cannot do, but that would also be what I can't do at COPA. So, but today to discuss how CPD works with that, how the Welcoming City Ordinance is written is if any City of Chicago employee participates in, is involved with immigration enforcement activities, they are to be investigated for that. The IG conducts all investigations into all City of Chicago employees besides members of the police department. The way the ordinance is written is those complaints are to be forwarded to COPA. That's how all complaints come in through COPA. All complaints come in through COPA regardless of who reports them. So those are forwarded to us, and then we make a jurisdictional determination based upon what I said earlier about our jurisdiction. Currently, as the Welcoming City Ordinance is written, COPA does not have investigative authority over allegations of Welcoming City Ordinance violations. So we're generally sending all of those to the Bureau of Internal Affairs. We have sent a few to the Inspector General's office. We can do that in certain instances we feel it's appropriate. We've crafted some legislation to amend the municipal code alongside some alder people to bring these violations under our investigative jurisdiction. This is currently pending city council action. Alderperson Jesse Fuentes and Alderman Andre Vasquez have 2 ordinances that are in city council, so ultimately it's up to them to move on that. Just some statistics regarding these complaints that have come in. The last time I pulled this data on this was November 10th of this year. COPA had received 24 allegations of welcoming city ordinance violations. We retained 4 of those at COPA because they contained other allegations that fell under our jurisdiction, so we were able to retain those cases. 2 of those were in preliminary investigation at that time, so I don't know where they ultimately ended up. 17 of those we sent over to BIA to be investigated, and 1 we sent over to ICE's Office of Professional Standards. So that's everything. I know I just threw a lot at y'all. I figured I just want to leave more times for questions if anyone had those, so I'm happy to answer any questions about anything that I just went over. Yes, sir.
When a person from ICE is breaking the law, will they be arrested for breaking a law? Because I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
And I'm a little frustrated.
I know that's been up for discussion. That's recently been in the news regarding a landlord, I believe, who had some officers engaged, who had some ICE agents involved with something. Generally, how that would work is how I spoke earlier about ICE's Office of Professional Standards. That's essentially ICE's COPA. So those are to be reported to their own administrative investigative unit, which would be them, and they would ultimately determine if there need to be some kind of criminal reference
The
made.
reason why I ask is when they were here kind of conducting what they were doing, let's call it assault, they were running stoplights and stop signs in unmarked vehicles without Mars lights or, you know, any identifying stuff. So like if I'm running stoplights up and down
Yeah.
Western Avenue, I would think that Chicago police should be able to empowered to pull those guys over and at least have a discussion and a warning or a ticket or some kind of moving violation.
I mean, I know that gets into a complicated space because generally, and Superintendent Snelling has spoken many times about this in regards to, it gets us into a very dangerous gray area because whether we generally agree with how these individuals are doing their job, CPD cannot interfere with federal agents conducting their work at that
Even
given
though we're a
moment.
home rule city.
Yes, it is. I don't believe that applies to federal law,
Okay.
but I'm happy to look more into that. I can get you more information on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
So to sum up, they can do anything they want, legal, illegal, and the police and no one in the city can do a
So I'm
single
not,
thing.
I'm not gonna say they can't do anything. I just wanna be very clear that they have broad authority to do their federal and immigration investigations as they've been outlined by their boss, whomever that may be. If we do, and when we get complaints in that COPA where we do feel like there's been some kind of violation, we send those over to ICE's Office of Professional Standards. That's the body who's gonna conduct investigations into what those officers were, what those law officers were doing at that moment. COPA or no one else in the city has the authority to investigate people that are outside of our jurisdiction. I can't investigate what a federal officer is doing. I can't investigate what a Oak Park officer is doing. Our jurisdiction is limited to what members of the Chicago Police Department are doing. I know that's been something that people have been very frustrated about, and we're doing our best to let people know if you do feel like something is being done in a way that you don't feel is appropriate, you still can reach out to COPA and we will send this over. We'll refer it to an agency that we do think has the appropriate scope to conduct that investigation, but we at this moment do not.
I think the frustration is what you just said was with what the police are doing, COPA focuses on. I think what we're trying to discuss is what the police may or may not be doing, aren't doing, like issuing moving violations for running countless stoplights, etc.
Yeah.
So, you know, in theory, if you're unmarked, not wearing a uniform, wearing a mask, and you almost hit a pedestrian, a cyclist, a baby stroller, etc. on the public way, I can get pulled over in a hot minute for that, but these guys seem to get a pass, and I disagree
Yeah.
with that.
I mean, I understand your frustrations, and there have been preliminary discussions how we can do something legislatively to try and work with this, but I just have to reiterate that they have extreme broad authority to do the work that we're doing, and our hands are very tied in what we can do in these situations.
And if I may, actually, that sounds like it's a more appropriate question for Captain Courtney.
Thank you.
So, so I'll let you answer
That's
that.
okay. Just what you said, you explained it perfectly, okay? They have broad authority, okay, they do. We can't impede with their authority. They're a federal organization, we're a local organization. Okay, so what their rules are for driving around when they're conducting operations, I don't know them, okay, because I'm not a federal officer or anything like that. So again, that would be something to take up with their organization, their oversight organization for sure. Okay, because we just don't know what they're doing at that moment, or if there's a reason why they need to have their lights off or on, or where they're going. We just don't know, and they don't have to tell us. So that's where we're at.
Seems sketchy.
I don't know about that. I can't comment
Yeah.
on, but I'm just telling you what our authority is, and unfortunately, it's not. But everyone.
Not to take the sting out of your presentation, I just thought.
No,
since
I
while we
appreciate
got
that.
Captain here, he'd
Yeah,
be
I
the
think we're
subject matter
both-
expert.
I think this has been something that, I've even had some frustrations and shared with some of my colleagues that we want better clarification on what CPD members can or cannot do, because this is such a novel issue here at the city. I think when the Welcoming City Ordinance was initially drafted, it wasn't viewing what has been happening here, and it doesn't necessarily reflect what we're seeing on the ground right now. And some further clarity into that, I think, would be helpful, but that's something that may happen in the future. I don't know. But at this moment, I think we're really in a novel space with a lot of gray areas, and everyone's kind of learning as we go. We've learned a lot here at COPA. I think CPD over the past few months has learned a lot, and we're going to continue to kind of improve some of our processes to better work this out. Yeah.
When ICE calls CPD for help, I don't want to say help, but whenever they feel intimidated by rapid responders, whether that be a rapid responder on a bike or in a car, is it a violation of the ordinance for CPD to answer that call and help the officer that feels threatened by a community member?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak about that in generality. Each case we would investigate on its own based upon the individual particulars of that case. So that's something where if that did come in, we would look into it. Like I said, we're kind of learning as we go. There hasn't been a lot of cases finalized in this space, so I think there's a lot of legal determinations that need to be made about these. So that's something that if a case came in like that, it'd be investigated, it'd be determined at that time.
Captain, you have to have any?
I do. I'll comment in just 1 second. There's something now called the Trust Act, which was implemented in June of 2025, okay? And I believe the commander passed these out at a recent meeting as well to everyone who was in attendance if they wanted to read about it. We will not get involved in any type of ICE or immigration enforcement whatsoever, okay? But if a situation turns into a criminal situation, then we will respond, and we will respond to protect everyone's rights in that situation from violence, injury, anything like that, okay? And that's what we're gonna have to do. And just as we would do not just for ICE or any federal agency, but we do it for citizens as well. We do it for protesters. We did it during the DNC a lot, protecting their right to protest, protecting their right to freedom of speech, protecting their right to assemble, protecting their right to march. So we're gonna do the exact same thing. Our whole goal here for CPD is we don't want violence in the streets. It's that simple. Okay, so if that starts to take place, but we will not get involved in immigration enforcement at all, just so you know.
I think there's a small caveat in the violence, is that it's a two-way street. There's a protester throwing a brick at an ICE officer, or there's an ICE officer shooting paintballs or whatever at a citizen, right? Both are acts of violence. Is there a distinction? Is there a separation? Again, one is purportedly doing their job, but they might be acting out of pocket. Where does CPD, I've not read of any of these guys being arrested.
We don't investigate federal authorities. like you stated earlier, you have to make a complaint through their process, and they will investigate it, and if they deem that one of their agents acted inappropriately, they can bring charges to them.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ashley?
No, you all do respond to their calls whenever they feel unsafe, right?
They never call us.
I feel like
They never call.
what the commander said last meeting,
I was not here.
yeah, but what the commander said last meeting is that they respond to ISIS calls whenever they feel threatened or whenever something happens.
Yes, if they call us, letting us know that they'll call 911, they'll call that they're under attack or feel threatened, then yes, they'll call us. And our protocol is this, okay? A sergeant will respond to the scene, and they'll evaluate that scene. If they determine it's just immigration enforcement, then we do not take any action whatsoever. And if there's nothing violent happening, we'll take no action whatsoever, okay? If they feel it's just immigration enforcement, their role then is to call the watch operations lieutenant in the district, and they will also make a notification to the street deputy. The watch operations lieutenant and the street deputy will both respond to that scene. They'll assume control of CPD officers, and they make the determination what needs to be done as far as CPD and what does not need to be done as far as CPD, okay? So if there's nothing need to be done, they will clear us from that scene. If it is not violent, if no one's under threat, or no one's under threat of attack, then they'll probably tell us to clear us and leave the scene, so.
Okay.
But that's how it goes, that's who responds first.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can anyone utilize ICE's Office of Professional Standards?
To be honest, I'm not sure if they have any kind of portal. I haven't familiarized myself with their intake processes, but if you don't want to go through those, you can reach out to us. Part of our job is referring cases to the correct authority, so that's a common thing that we do when we get cases. A lot of people call COPA because they don't know that people will call COPA from other jurisdictions, other towns, other states, because they don't have familiarity of what's going on in their particular area. So very commonly we'll get cases in and we'll refer them to the correct investigative agency. So anything involving ICE, anything involving Border Patrol, anything involving an FBI agent, we have contacts at all those independent agencies that we can send our complaints over to make sure that something's done with them. Ultimately, I don't know what happens to those cases, but we're giving it to those agencies, and what happens there is up to their investigative processes.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about that. How many have you all sent over, and
Yeah, so
have you gotten any results back?
We've
from that?
sent one to ICE's Office of Professional Standards, as I said earlier. This data I pulled on November 10th, so maybe we've sent some since then, but at that date, we had only sent one case over to ICE's OPS office.
But if I called up COPA and said I have a complaint about an ICE officer,
Yeah.
you all would forward it on?
If we could gather enough evidence and materials to put together a package that we could send over to them, absolutely.
Do y'all get a service request number?
From them?
Mm-hmm.
No,
No?
no.
So it's just lost?
Ultimately,
Because-
our responsibility is to make the referral over. It is not under our responsibility as outlined in the municipal code to be tracking the investigations that other agencies are doing.
Do you notify the complainant that it's been forwarded?
Yes, they would receive a complaint. They would receive a letter from our office saying it's been referred. And then anyone can always call our office and get more information about their cases. We have case liaisons that work for us. Their job day in and day out is to update complainants, to give them information about the status of our case. So anyone can call at any moment and get an update if they felt like they needed one.
All right, with that being said, I want to thank you.
Yeah.
I
Matt?
have another question.
Yeah.
Around the ordinance, do you know when Jesse Fuentes' and Andre Vasquez's ordinance for COPA to take on investigating these interactions with CPD and ICE, when that ordinance will be voted on?
You would have to talk to the elder people.
No?
Yeah.
And then just one specific question, regarding June 4th, there was a very interesting meeting,
Yeah.
that in City Hall where it was COPA, the OIG's office and BIA, and nobody wanted to touch that investigation, of officers going in and out the federal building
Okay.
where, do you know which situation I'm talking about?
I know about the June 4th incident in general.
Yeah, that incident,
Okay.
OIG didn't want to investigate and COPA didn't want to investigate and they sent it over to BIA if I'm not mistaken, and they didn't want to investigate. So
Can we
is
get
there?
the Cliff's Notes version of that incident?
So the June 4th incident, I believe it was at ICE's facility in the South Loop. They have some kind of intake office, I don't know, over there. Something happened, there was a loud, there was a big gathering of people. CPD responded to the scene. There were allegations at that time that members of CPD were aiding ICE in this enforcement activity. That's still being investigated, whether there was or there wasn't. There was a city council meeting that was brought up because of this, and this is where some of these issues came up regarding jurisdiction of this matter. As I said earlier, this is a novel issue. The ordinance as written, I don't think was really built to address what we're seeing on the ground now. So there was some concerns about who had investigative jurisdiction over this. We felt very comfortable in our determination of it and what our lawyers came to. Some members of city council felt as if something different should have been done. Noticing that there was there wasn't clarity about who should be investigating these. That's why there's been this proposal to change the Welcoming City ordinance to just provide some clarity about who ultimately has jurisdiction of this. As I stated earlier, anything that is not under COPA's clear express jurisdiction goes to BIA for investigation. That's what we did with these cases. I believe we sent one version of it to the Inspector General's office, which we can do. So as far as I'm concerned, I think we followed the law clearly, but we've been working with other leaders in City Hall to make sure that we can make that clear moving on, because members of the community obviously want clear guidance on what's going to happen in these instances. So hopefully sometime next year that'll be amended. We'll see.
Well, once again, thank you,
Yeah,
Mac
thank
Thurman.
you.
There's another question. Sally has a question.
Yeah.
I know you're always looking at the
Right.
clock, but let us ask
Right.
questions.
I mean, I was just gonna ask if you could stick around for further
Yeah, I'm
questions
happy
after
to
we
stick
conduct the meeting.
around. I'm happy
Great,
to-
thank you.
Okay,
You just
But
ask the
please go ahead, Ms.
questions.
Heyman.
You said that COPA, let's see, if an allegation is sustained, COPA makes a recommendation to the superintendent of police.
Yeah.
And they post a final summary on their website.
Uh-huh.
But the superintendent of police does not have to uphold the recommendation, right?
So we make a disciplinary recommendation, and the superintendent can choose to agree or disagree with our recommendation. If the superintendent does not agree with our recommendation, we meet with each other. It's called the meet and confer process. And we'll try and we'll hear the reasons they disagreed. We'll look at our reasons and we'll see, maybe they made a good argument. Maybe there's compromise here. We'll try and find middle ground where we can resolve that case through that process. If there isn't the ability to resolve it through that, the case will go to the police board. One member will be randomly selected, and they'll determine if COPA had the right argument or CPD had the correct argument there. And then ultimately, whatever outcome comes from that will be the discipline that's imposed. So I don't want to make it seem like the superintendent can just throw away COPA's recommendation, because that's not what's happening. Like in some other jurisdictions, the superintendent or the chief of police can choose to just ignore the civilian office's recommendation. That's not what's happening here. There's a collaborative process to when there is disagreement, and that's something that we're continuing to improve.
And if the police board doesn't agree with the COPA recommendation, then it just gets
Well,
tossed.
sometimes it may not even be that the superintendent says everything should be not sustained. Sometimes it may be COPA says the officer should receive separation from the department, and the superintendent says they should be suspended for 30 days. So it may not even be the outcome of the case changes, it's just the disciplinary recommendation.
All right, well, once
Yeah.
again, thank you, Mac
Yeah.
Thurman. I appreciate every time we get a chance to see you.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll be around if anyone wants to chat later.
Thanks
Sounds like
very
we'll be
much.
talking.
Yeah, no, I'd like to follow up with you.
All right. And any items on restorative justice or evidence-based approaches to community safety?
Yeah.
No.
There.
All right, we'll go on into our voting process, which is the meeting calendar for next year.
I'm okay with this calendar.
So, I want to be very transparent about it. Take this back. So, as I mentioned last month, our meeting calendar, it's going to have little variations in it. We're kind of tossing things up a little bit. We're going to continue to meet on the first Saturday of every month during the winter and fall. The only outliers to that is Counselor Vargas had recommended that during the summer months, June, July, and August, we'll meet on the first Thursday. And I know what some people are thinking. Well, I'll get to that in just a moment. At the evening, 6 p.m. in the evening, with the exception of July. July is going to be the 9th because the 4th, I believe, is right around that same time. So we're going to make certain everybody gets back from their holiday safe and sound before they come hear our talking heads chatter on. So, so we have a proposed, with those caveats, any other recommendations that you see?
Any objections on Thursday evenings?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the calendar for 2026, and it says June, July, August at 1 p.m.
That was a typographic error. That you got that off of the website because it was
Yes.
put out there with the agenda.
Right.
So, and it's been corrected thus far on our end to where it's like, okay, that was a typo. It's 6 p.m. is the correct start time. Matter of fact, I have a couple of extra agendas up top here in the on the handout table that have the correct timing on them.
Thank you.
So the dates are correct,
Dates are correct.
times are.
The times have been edited, and once we get this voted in, we can have it approved and published to our website for our meeting calendar for 2026.
Did you say the second Thursday in July?
Oh, it's July 9th.
Because that's probably my peak meeting.
Okay.
July 9th
Yep, at 6 o'clock.
at 6?
Yep, 14.
Maybe we can get us all together, get us all in one room together, right? Hey, that's
Hey, you could.
stranger things
you could
about
do
it.
that if you want, yeah.
But
I just hate to have to make it, I mean.
right. No, I understand that. But no, those locations, by the way, are to be determined.
And I haven't confirmed that for.
Right. So, yeah, the locations for those 6 p.m. Thursday night meetings are to be determined. We're still looking for space. Our community outreach coordinator, Nat Duran, is working very diligently on getting that secured for us. So as soon as those are secured, we'll make certain that we put that out with well advanced notice. Hearing no objections, we'll go ahead and by unanimous consent approve the 2026 meeting calendar.
I approve, and we'll look into July 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing?
Yes.
All right. Moving along.
Change it for like.
All right, any other items that we need to discuss before we close out the year of 2025 for the 14th Police District Council? Hearing none. Our next meeting will be at the Humboldt Park Public Library located at 1605 North Troy, and that will be at January 3, 2026 at 1 p.m. as is correct on our proposed meeting calendar. Hearing no objections, we'll go ahead and adjourn. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
for
Time now is
participating.
2:03 p.m. We are adjourned.
Enjoy your holidays. See you next year. Thank you so much.
If I want to search and see how many complaints are coming in.
Thanks for coming.
Happy holidays. You guys stay safe.
Is there a way I can do that easily?
Yeah, we publish our.
Likewise.
Pleasure, Ashley.
Thanks for
See you.
doing this.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah, so these are,
Yeah.
Great presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anytime, yeah.
Good job.
Keep up the low level.
We're doing our best.
Yes.
I was going to say, it's kind of weird to get CPD and NOPA agreements on one of our meetings.
What do you mean? We're building bridges here, Chris. We're building bridges.
We publish quarterly on our website. Yeah, we'll summarize some of that information. We also have some maps in there.
Thank you. Are you with the documenters?
Yeah.
We got like 3 of you guys, huh?
Yeah, they started doing audio. So
Because I.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine.
I also